All right, so welcome everybody. It's Friday, November 6th. So Katie says this, the only place we can be happy is right here, right now, not tomorrow, not in 10 minutes. Happiness can't be achieved. We can't get it from money or sex or fame or approval or anything on the outside. We can only find happiness within us, unchanging, immovable, ever present, ever waiting. If we pursue it, it runs away. If we stop pursuing it and question our minds instead, the source of all stress disappears. Happiness is who we already are once our minds are clear. When the mind is perfectly clear, what is what we want. We're happy with whatever life brings us. That's enough and more than enough. Here's the bottom line. Suffering is optional. So I just love that. We can only find happiness within us, unchanging, immovable, ever present, ever waiting. What this work is about for me is questioning the idea that I'm not sure that's true. Is happiness really here? That's what the mind, just notice your mind is like mine. I'm not sure that's true. And yet finding 100% of the time it is with the work. Awesome. Okay, everybody. What I love, what we always start with First Friday is just the guided meditation of writing a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. Something sort of precious about just sitting slowly. So get your pen and paper, or your device, and find a situation. So just notice and let your mind open up. Welcome everybody who's arriving. To just kind of see what you feel like arguing with, what you've been arguing with in reality. It's okay if it's petty, big, who knows, that person, that moment, that repetitive situation, just watching. Maybe something that you've even taken to the work before, you've wondered about. Just love pausing. Maybe this person you've done the work on many times, who knows? And maybe only once, it just disturbed you. So you're taking a look at what you see, what you're taking in, what you're perceiving that feels very stressful or a little stressful, doesn't matter. Push the pause button, watching the movie of what happened. If you had a whole conversation that was disturbing, or there's something underway, feels disturbing, just find a peak where the stress came up higher. What's happening right there in that moment? It's nice to have an anchor for what you're objecting to. So just seeing that situation. It can be as simple as reading a text, but here comes the information, noticing what your mind is doing with it. So it's okay if it doesn't look like a lot's happening. The images in your head, scary. Just anchor in that situation. And now write number 1. Why are you disturbed? I am upset in this moment with what I'm seeing with that person. Just see with what comes out there. I'm upset with that. Him, her, they, because, and then write short, simple sentence. If you can. No wrong way to do it. I'm upset with this because there's that sentence. Unedited. Just let yourself listen. Love how Byron Katie says we're just listening to what the mind is saying, what's alarming about this. Let it be dramatic if it's dramatic. Watch how quick the mind is. It judges what you've come up with. Just let it come out anyway. So for everyone who's just joining, we're starting a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. Just finding that situation and writing number 1. I'm upset, I'm troubled with this situation because, and there's your concept. Okay, number 2. How do you want it to change? How do you want that to change? Just be demanding, have a tantrum. It's okay. Feels like you're 3 years old. Or very sad, extremely disappointed. I want. What do you want? What you're looking at to do? What do you want that person to do? Let me see if you can have your sentences be short, simple. And okay if they just come out long. Sometimes just noticing the mind is chattering, has a long thing to say. It's okay. You can break it down later. Okay, number 3. What advice would you give? So just using should, shouldn't, just allowing how you'd correct it so that the person or the thing or the situation can change, can make that change. What would you advise so that they can do it? What would help? Just letting it all come out unedited. They should, she shouldn't, it should. Number 4, in order for you to be happy in this situation, so if you let your imagination go, which that's what the mind is brilliant at, imagination, what do you need in order to be happy in this situation? So especially from that person, that thing, that item, that condition, what do you need from it in order to be happy? If you imagine something could happen, so something could be said or thought or felt from the other, something could be done, and you would wind up feeling whatever happy would be in this situation, like relieved, excited, joyful, resolved. If that could occur in this situation, what would help that happen? What do you need? I need them to think, say, feel, do. In that situation, as you're looking, describe. Next questions. Just make a list. What do you think of them? What do you think of this? It is, they are, and be very unedited. Speak from that voice that might seem it's not politically correct, it's not kind. If it isn't, they are descriptive words, usually one word at a time, commas, but whatever you hear. And the very last prompt, as we identify our thinking, stressful thinking, what is it you never want to experience again in this situation? If you could just say it, I don't ever want that big grand global statement mind gets to make. What is it you never want to experience again in that situation as you look at it? If this never happened again, great. Right. So as always, just sitting with this, step 1, identifying how we would use words to describe what we don't like. I didn't like it. So powerful, because then you can sit with the concept. It's got a description to it. So you can take that into your work, take that into inquiry. But who would like to do the work now? And what you do is read your Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, or just start in. You can share with us briefly the situation that you're looking at.
Can we get political, or is that too touchy?
Do anything. The work is for absolutely anything.
I live in Florida, so I've got a lot of feelings.
We all do.
Yeah.
No matter where we live.
I'm a human being, so I have a lot of feelings.
It was just such a surprise, you know.
Can I talk without showing my picture?
Yes, absolutely. That's totally fine. Is that Sandy?
Yes.
Okay, great. Absolutely, Sandy. Yeah. So just tell us what you're looking at and we'll start.
Okay, well, somebody did something similar to this some time ago, but it's a real big issue for me. And so I did a class for my church as an ongoing series. And I did a class, and I've participated in other classes. And my understanding was that these would be recorded but not go on YouTube. And I'm really a private person. And I'm not on Facebook, for example, and I don't do social media. And I have some fear around all that I can't quite get rid of. I'd like to not have it, but I have it.
Sure. Good one. Very good one. And you know, this one I am recording, by the way. Are you okay with that?
That's going to go on YouTube?
Yes.
Now that I just said all that?
Yes, it does. Yeah. These first Fridays, we record and people listen, and they.
Yeah, I forgot that. It was some other work I did with you that you didn't record.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I'm not ready.
That's okay. Yeah, powerful. And you know, I just love you brought it up, because just kind of sit with this beautiful question: what am I afraid of? What's the worst that could happen? And go ahead and letting that be alive there. You know, like looking at that, those fears. And it never means that if we do the work that you don't say no, thank you. You know, there's whatever's right for you is within, but it actually becomes more clear what's for sure right for you. So yeah, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Oh yeah, glad to hear. Okay. Anyone else?
I could do a political one.
Whatever one is coming to mind, whatever you know that you need to do. All right, my dear.
A lot of feelings behind it.
Sure.
The thought is Republicans are stupid.
Okay. What's your situation?
What week are we in? The election results. The latest talks of what do you think? These people are stupid.
So anyone can find, if they don't think the exact thing, they can find it for themselves. Like, everyone find where you think that group of people are stupid.
Oh yeah.
You know, find it for yourself. There they are, that family group, those people. It can be anybody you can find, so that you can use this work for yourself too. Just be with it. And if it's this one, same. And just notice, it's helpful to anchor in a few, like your proof. You've arrived at this conclusion because you've seen something.
Yeah, I've seen 4 years of cult worship, of believing anything this person says. not checking it out for yourself, just taking it all as fact and just falling deeper and deeper down this rabbit hole.
So that's good. So you see people following someone and that they're for 4 years straight, which is great. You know, I like the mind is so extreme. I mean, it just like every minute of every hour that's happening. Anyway, just watching and you see all those images, lots of images, because there's a time chunk. So sometimes this is great when you have like a repetitive, ongoing situation.
Like every time the news comes on.
It looks the same. Yeah. So you're watching the news. So you are watching the news. And here comes the information.
Okay. And why am I disturbed? I'm upset with them because they are so in love with this awful man and believe his bullshit. They think he's their savior, a god, and willing to do anything for him. And they're just following him like little sheep.
Okay. Which one has the most charge? See, they're following him. They're believing anything.
They're believing his bullshit.
Okay.
And you want me to go to
Let's just start there. Let's just start right there. So everybody find where, you know, the people are stupid. They're believing something that isn't true. That's an old human thought, right? There's that whole group and they're believing bullshit. You have the images that come to mind.
I guess that's true. I guess it could be of any religion or any cult or anything.
Yeah. Watching the mind habits. So we're going to slow down, see these images, and there's you watching images on the news, listening, you know. So those people are believing his bullshit. Like they're believing.
There's also one part of the mind that I am aware of, that I want to own, that I want to win. I want to be right. And I know that that's got to be ego to just say, well, my side wants to win. And I feel so firmly that we're right and you're wrong. It's an us and them on our side too. It's a,
yeah.
But I am right. But no,
So
yeah, they're wrong.
They're believing something that is not true. You know, you call it bullshit. They're believing bullshit. They are wrong. Okay, is that true? So just hold still here in this moment. See what your answer is. You absolutely know they are believing something that is completely untrue and that they're wrong.
With time, I think it could be proven that they're believing something that's not true. But right now, they're believing something that's stoking fires of violence.
So they're believing his bullshit. Is that true?
Yes.
Can you absolutely know it? Just look at who they are, your idea, what you see on the news.
And Facebook. Not all of them.
Okay. They're believing bullshit. You absolutely know that that's true. Can you absolutely know it's true? In the situation you're in, you're watching, you're seeing things on the internet. And it's okay, whatever you're just noticing your genuine answer.
Yeah, they're believing the propaganda, what I think is propaganda.
Okay. So what happens when you think it? There those people are believing propaganda.
I get so scared. I get so scared that there's no truth coming out. And it reminds me of the 60s when it was so violent in the streets. And in my city, a news helicopter was shot down by angry mobs just because they were trying to film what was going on in the city, the riots for voting rights. And my fears for this country.
And how does it feel in your body? So images, frightening images.
I feel unsafe. My heart races. My stomach hurts. I've had diarrhea for days. I get so anxious. I've done the work every day, all week. I've done this one already, similar ones.
And notice where the future images are. So there's past ones like helicopters getting shot down, riots, violence. And just notice how the mind projects that into the future.
My son made me take my yard sign off the yard, just plant an American flag. I've got to go scrape my bumper stickers off because I don't want to drive my brand new car out anywhere.
Yeah. I want to hug.
Yeah, images of my brand new car getting keyed up. Fear. My shoulders are so tight. My arms are tight. My stomach's a mess. My mind is swirling. I can't find my center. I can't find a peaceful place. I'm moving back to New York State. I got to live in a blue state. This is ridiculous.
But it's so powerful to watch. Hide, run, fight, fearful, dangerous, filling the body.
Makes sense to me to go back to my tribe.
So who would you be without this thought? And it doesn't mean you're going blind. That's not what the work is about. It's just you're watching something happening in the news on a screen. You're watching the internet. You couldn't have the thought, they are believing bullshit.
And I'd be compassionate. Marianne Williamson's podcast the other day was great. She had a guest on who suggested that we write a script as if we were taking the other side. Maybe I should do that. She said, we're so divided. Why don't we try to put ourselves in the other shoes and try to figure out where they're coming from? I got to do that.
Just look at what you hear. Here's the information coming in, and without the story, they're believing they're wrong. They're wrong without that story. Everybody can feel it. Just feel the sense of that in your body. Let yourself feel that.
Yeah, just allowing them to believe whatever they believe, not feeling anything about me with their beliefs, not feeling anything about my world. I'm fine. I'm right here, woman sitting on a rickety chair.
Notice, yep. I love that. Woman sitting in a chair, woman looking at a screen. It's very
pretty color background. Yeah, they can believe anything that they want.
Yeah.
Their right to swing their fist ends at the end of my nose, so they can swing it all they want. The fear is that it's going to hit my nose.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people's noses, so to speak.
Well, doesn't it grow so fast? It's like it's my nose. No, it's lots of people's. And just seeing it, it's in bulk. It's in bulk. So let's turn it around. So they're believing bullshit, they're wrong. Okay, I am believing bullshit.
I am believing bullshit.
And always done with compassion, any of these turnarounds. They're not like things to hurt yourself with. It's just, I'm having my thoughts.
Maybe in my hatred or this judgment of this person, I'm believing that my guy is so perfect instead of seeing that he's got flaws too and has done things that might not be in the highest integrity. I am stupid. My friend is very anti-government, and he says that I'm stupid to believe that the vote is legitimate. He said okay, Georgia's doing it because they've got Stacey Abrams, but 49 states to go to see how just our system could be, and it needs a lot of work. And I'm stupid and naive to believe that this is even a good system or worth salvaging, or I'm stupid.
Notice the mind goes to finding good reasons why, like still the pro and con list of who's right and who's wrong. If I'm just really, I just noticed, like an officer, unknown. What I find is like I'm right in the moment when I'm taking in news, I'm believing what might not be true. I am wrong. And it's just to see, I'm seeing pictures of helicopters getting shot down, and I'm thinking that the world is terrible, and I'm believing there's a war in my living room. And I have,
With the help of my mind.
yes, like I'm in a quiet room, but I'm believing I have to get out of here as soon as possible. And it doesn't mean you don't.
Wow.
It's just watching. Everything in the body is without a thought. Who are you? You're just a person watching, wondering, curious in a way. Wow, what's going on here? Which is hilarious. So interesting. I am believing. I'm believing.
I am stupid. I am believing.
And it's to see genuinely how. It's not a thing to use to crush yourself. I mean, the words are strong, they're not, they sound like criticisms, but wow, yeah, what am I not, what is stupidity if I'm really sitting with it and not using it against anyone else? It's just like not having all the information, not having the full picture, following my imagination.
Yeah, my fears, my imagination and my fears.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, I'm believing.
They're not stupid.
Yeah, they aren't. They're not, and they're not believing bullshit. They're not stupid. How could that be true? And it has to be a genuine example, not guessing. Just in that moment as you're watching a screen.
There has been election fraud over the years, a lot of it.
That's nice to know, yeah, that something like that exists in reality. Yeah. But right in the moment when you're looking, yeah, so they are not stupid. That's great. Anything else?
There has been a lot of election fraud over the years. Let's see. He has followed his mandate to help the wealthy and corporations.
Mm-hmm.
That would be part of my script for the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done all right by them. Business owners, He's taken a stance that a lot of people believe that mask, there's another side too, that mask wearing is stupid and it doesn't work. The holes are 100 times bigger than the virus, so the virus can get right through. I've read it before and they're believing his opinion. And he wants America to get back to work.
If there was, it's just great, nice to notice they are not wrong. They are not wrong. They are not stupid. Just believing their thoughts. That, they're wondering just like you are.
And found someone who represents what they found or what they. Now we won't go into the QAnon thing, but anyway,
No, like you're just a woman looking at the internet, reading something. How do we know? It's unknown exactly what they're believing or not believing. But I like noticing they are believing, and it's not dangerous to believe. Like we all believe. We're thinking. And they're not wrong. It's just to find that in the moment.
Yeah, I like that. They're just believing. And we believe what we follow, what
comes to us, what
our mind brings to us.
Yeah. What we've encountered, kind of like have an experience, boom.
What our neighbors say. Beliefs are funny things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We believe our thoughts. That's a big one. I'm even believing my thoughts that we could turn into 1968 again.
Yeah.
In this country, but worse.
Yeah. Right. Mind will always take it when you're afraid and make it worse. Take the pictures and make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's just noticing and sitting with it, I don't have the whole picture. How could I possibly, and there we are doing what we do, people thinking what they think. Find that sense of, is it not dangerous? It's safe in the moment. It's a woman watching a computer. There's air in the room. Gravity's still intact. I'm sitting in a chair. The house is quiet. There is no riot. Nobody's keyed my car.
That rhymes. It might be a basis for my new poem, Quiet and Riot,
Yeah, the biggest riot in that moment is actually on the inside of me.
In my head.
Yeah. I see the screens. We're not, we're just, it's like looking, but being with it. And then something else happens. And then something else happens. It's constantly moving.
I like that.
Yeah. And even to actually turn it all the way around to they are right. Instead of they're wrong.
Oops. My phone is broken. That's on my list for after here. It won't turn sideways anymore. They are right.
Yeah.
Or they are smart.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Just to open to it, see how it feels. Could it be true?
I was making calls for the other guy and got hung up on a lot, often with cursing. We don't want a pussy ass blah blah blah. We want a strong man. Click. And maybe they've got a point. Maybe we need a strong man, someone with strong policies, strong. Anyway, that's another thought to look at some other time. But
just notice it's wonderful how watch the mind do its detail work of like gathering the information to find out which is right or wrong, and how What if you sat with, there is no right or wrong? What if there wasn't a right or wrong? And we're still just engaged being with it. They're doing what
Hmm.
they do. There they are doing what they do, and they're smart human beings, taking in what they've taken in based on what they've experienced, doing the best they can. Could be. I just personally find it's exciting. It doesn't mean uh, more chaos and confusion. It actually means there's something exciting about it. I don't know if you feel it. It's like connection to people, to humanity, and all the full range of human experience. Being able to be with anyone, anywhere. How is it more likely there'll be peace if I can be with anyone, anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
or if I make war?
That's why Marianne wanted us to take the other side and defend it.
Mm, yeah. Lovely.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like really standing in that turnaround, just to hold it and feel it, like be willing to try on that sweater,
Right.
and see, what's going on over here?
Interesting. It's just, I live in, oh, maybe this is the mind going again. You can tell me that. I live in Miami and there's a lot of Cubans here. And so they call Joe Biden a socialist and they hate that word and they're violent. He's just going to turn a socialist. And I don't even understand maybe I need to do some research about what socialism is to them.
That's a great idea. Look, isn't that beautiful? We don't even know. I know some about the history in it that makes a lot of sense. So it's just watching. There's something really big happening over there. There's something. It's very passionate over there. And look, how do I react? Equal or more passion, intensity, fire, anger, defense, justification.
Right. And wanting them to be wrong and wanting me to be right. That's the biggest one that I can always tell is this little ego wants to be so big.
Yeah. My thinking is wrong, especially when it comes to this moment. My thinking is just off,
Yeah, I like that part too. My thinking is stupid. My thinking is stupid.
Yes, if that means I can't see the whole entire everything about it and with understanding, sure.
And compassion for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
A lot of them came over on a boat to get here and had to go through a lot of suffering, and they don't want to live through socialism again. That's the last thing they want. But it's not socialism. It's a fascism. So then we get in the argument of what they're voting for is a fascist. But anyway, that's
Yeah.
my mind wanting to defend itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And you just caught yourself, as Katie says, in a little seizure. It just goes into these little geysers like Yellowstone National Park. but
But good reason to go there.
Yeah. Yeah.
To have that visual.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Grace.
Oh my gosh, you're so welcome. Yeah.
Okay, maybe my body will calm down now.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it all goes around and around.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're on Facebook with Danny Omri, but he writes a poem every day.
Oh, he's such a.
And it's about the work. Every day there's a new kind of work poem. And it's just like, if I can start my day right if I can read Danny's poem for the day.
Yeah. Very sweet.
Yeah.
I know.
Very nice.
Yeah. So comment,
Okay.
anyone. What did you find? Did you follow? What are you noticing? And you can share in the chat, just like Diana just did. Yeah. Diana, I really appreciated this work about the election. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Marty, for bringing this subject up. I was following along with my worksheet, which is about some underlying, well, my interpretation of some things that my sister says that seemingly are racist. And she, in the past, she voted for Trump. I don't know what she voted for this time. I don't go into that with her right now. So, so what comes up for me is not, it's easy for me to let go of the I'm right, they're wrong about the little topics.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's harder when it's like, if this is like something that leads to a fascist government, like,
Mm-hmm.
like I can put myself in their shoes about the topics that are just kind of like, okay, we just disagree on that.
Sure.
But not when it comes to like people who believe other people are fundamentally less than human, and that people don't have, that like white Western society is superior.
Sure.
Like then I'm like, I can't be that like egalitarian and not say like that is wrong.
Well, holding it, it's like standing with it and just being curious about this, like, wow, what would bring a human being to have that perspective, to be holding that? That's a lot of fear. I mean, you just look, sort of stare at the person in a way. I was thinking, stare at the person and say, does that person look stress-free, like they're in their natural state of well-being, like this happiness that's available to everybody? Is that happening? No, it isn't. So they're believing their thoughts. They're a believer. And if I feel unequipped to like share or listen or be with them, or it feels hard, I always love Katie's story. I've had this experience myself with my own children. Like she would have her children, she'd say, go ahead and tell me the truth of everything that you think about me. I want to hear it all. And then she might have to say, okay, that's enough. Just a moment, and go away for a minute in another room. Like write down the thoughts. Oh my God, just watching the fear and everything churn within, but being able to take that to inquiry, like it's okay, it's safe, it's okay, I'm safe right now, I'm hearing, I'm listening, and to trust what happens, follow what happens, because there was such connection that became alive there. We don't have to know, like be the one in charge to make sure it goes this certain way. When connection is offered, something seems to happen that is more trusting, more peaceful. So this quote, let's go back and look at this quote from the beginning. Some of you weren't here quite yet. The only place we can be happy is right here, right now, not tomorrow, not in 10 minutes. Happiness can't be achieved. We can't get it from money or sex or fame or approval or anything on the outside. So in this case, we want it from those people thinking a different way, being a different way, acting a different way. But we can't get it from that, right? And then we're dependent. But we can only find happiness within us. And here's what I love: happiness within us, unchanging, immovable, ever present, ever waiting. That's available for everybody. Unchanging, immovable, ever present, ever waiting. So just noticing when somebody's really stressed, or when we've been really stressed, they're not remembering that there's an immovable life force here, whatever you want to call it, happiness, something without a thought, something continuing without something else in charge besides the mind. If we stop pursuing that happiness and question our minds instead, the source of all stress disappears. Happiness is who we already are. Just finding that within ourselves, but even within the one we're looking at. They forgot that it's possible to be happy. Just like we forgot. So yeah, it's not about so like dropping your preferences. In a way, it's about bringing them more like just steady on. I find a steadiness within, like, let's see where this is going, and I can be connected. Yes, Sandy, that's quoting Katie from A Mind at Home with Itself. Yeah. Okay. So, who else? Did I answer your question, Pilates?
It was less about a question and more just about my reaction to the work that Marty did, and
Yes. Okay.
also working through these very similar thoughts about people who have different belief systems
Yes.
than I do.
And I just love that the range, like you were saying, you can find the small things. Okay, I can get it, and then the big ones, and it just means I'm more afraid. I have more doubt. I'm aware of what goes off in human history, and like I know what can happen, and I'm afraid, and so I'm just more afraid. So it feels tighter and more critical, and it's wonderful to say, like, I see what those images are of where you think it's going when it feels big. Like, this is big. We were doing the work with somebody, and she was really committed to the work, and she had done the work for a long time and been to a school, and she would be like, but Grace, this is real. She kept saying, this is real. And she had gotten a diagnosis of a disease that was terminal. So all of a sudden, the mind is saying, I can't do the work on this. It is real. And after stepping into that, but then carrying on, she found, and I have found too, wow, it happens on those things where the volume is turned up. Feels like it's so dangerous, it's impossible. And wow, do the work and something shifts, something changes, even just a little bit. And then something different happens. So, yeah, thank you for your thoughts. All right, anyone else? Time for another person to do the work. Yeah, Bev.
I'd like to. Hi, Grace.
Awesome.
So earlier this morning, after I got your email about this, I listened to your talk with Martha Creek.
Yeah.
That you posted, and which was wonderful.
Yeah.
And she was talking about how she had these fears about looking at that if she puts her attention on her greatest fears, then they'll come true. And then when it happened, and I had this amazing terror come up, because that's a big thing for me as well.
Yeah.
Is believing that what we hold in mind produces after its kind,
Yes.
So anyway, I was thinking, okay, what is my greatest fear, the worst that could happen? And so that was what I wrote my sheet about, was that my greatest fear is that one of my granddaughters would die on my watch.
Oh, yeah, powerful.
And there's nothing in me that wants to go towards that,
Yeah.
because I think, well, if it happened for Martha, that's going to happen for me. It's going to happen. And oh my God, I am not, no, everything in me is this big no.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. This is really, it's really interesting. If I think it, if I imagine it, if I move towards it, it will happen. The power of the mind. We see the power of the mind, the power of the mind. And you absolutely know that it's true. So just begin there. If I think it, if I see the images, horror,
Mhm.
it will happen. And I absolutely know it's true.
No.
Isn't that just great to notice? Just don't
Mhm.
know. It's a lot more than just mind. Mind is powerful, but oh, I mean, I'm like, I don't know either.
Right. Right. Well, I saw too, I thought, well, how can I write this down as a worksheet? I was trying to remember back at the two schools how we had done that exercise.
You
Um,
imagine it's actually happened. It's just like the worst that could happen. And you kind of, just the thought of it brings it kind of alive inside yourself. So really, it's just, it comes alive inside of you.
right. Yes. Yeah.
And
Yes.
yeah, and it doesn't mean it's going, it's sort of like it's unfolding inside of you. There it is. And
Mm.
but in the mind, it's imagination. I mean, it's amazing. And so you see that terrible thing. And you write a worksheet like this happened.
Okay.
She's
Mhm.
died on my watch. It sounds like on my watch brings in like my responsibility.
Mhm.
I contributed, or
It's my fault.
my fault.
Mhm.
Let's just look at it's my fault, because it's my fault is so stressful. And often a terrible thing will happen. It's good to notice terrible thing. And then the mind, it's my fault. You do have to be assuming this thing is terrible,
Right.
or it's my fault comes in. So often, we're invited to do the work on the thing that's outside of us that's happened. That is so difficult because that's before it's my fault.
Mhm.
And it's my fault, but it adds to it, it grows. So, kind of so starting with just noticing that it's my fault.
Mhm.
Okay, is that true? The death of somebody is your fault.
No.
Yeah. Mhm. Notice.
Yeah. The picture that I have, because it's like this fear of, well, it's a very specific thing, which I don't, but I've noticed that the fear has come up when I've been in that situation,
Uh,
that this fear, like, oh my God, this thing is going to break and it's going to fall on her. And
yeah.
anyway, um,
Good. So just see, so it's not, can I know it's true? It's my fault? No.
no,
Let's turn
right.
back. Let's look at see the picture. It's okay that your mind thought of it. The mind is like a protection machine, and it's just throws out options, you know, and get scared when we're believing it. It's like letting it be okay that the image is there. There's a difference between the image being there and then believing it. Interesting
Mm,
difference.
yeah.
So too late, like the image is already there. If you could control those images, you would have done that by now, right? So there's the image. So we get to just look the image. It's absolutely terrible. It's just noticing the mind, all terrible, absolutely can't happen. Never, ever, ever. Totally against that. Is it true? Okay, if you have a yes. Look at that thing that you're against. Is it true?
Yes.
So notice what happens when you are against this ever happening. What happens inside of you when you see that image? Like never, ever, ever. What happens?
It's panic. Uh, I feel tight in my chest, my throat, my gut, fight or flight chemicals going through my body. Uh, I mean, just the images of future images of what I would do, how I would scream. And then, I mean, going all the way to having to have to tell her parents the terror of that. I mean, it just goes down.
It tells
And-
the story. It keeps it.
oh yeah, and it's fast.
Oh,
It, it's yeah, it's fast. And when I look for past images, um, I don't see anything specific, but just it's this sense of having heard stories of things like that. That
yes,
in the moment, you know, was kind of like a shock.
totally. Yes. Yeah.
Because nothing like that has happened. Oh, just a memory of something I had read in The Secret Garden about this branch breaking and the mother dying. So there was that association because it's a branch thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Finding that, just finding it, just noticing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, that innocent child mind, like hearing a story, which life is just stories, stories, stories for the human mind. Yeah, the mind loves stories, and there's hard stories and wonderful stories.
Right.
Like there you are when you're a child, you're hearing The Secret Garden and aware of this kind of
Mhm.
shocking thing, you know.
Well, I was actually hearing it as an adult. I never heard it as a child.
Oh,
And I had just listened to it recently, and that's why I think
oh, yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah,
it tied into that association. But
yeah. Like it
yeah.
just takes in and puts it in the files, puts it in, just, oh, huh, wow. Whoosh, it's just taking it in. So
Mhm.
good to notice.
Mhm. Yeah.
And the terror and the mind being so inventive, so amazing to see the phone call or the, like just how it, I mean, it's amazing that it does that and
Mhm.
in the imagination.
Yes. Yeah. It's trying to figure out exactly what it's going to do to deal with it.
Yes.
Have everything lined up, all the ducks in a row,
Yes.
and the terror that will happen. I mean, I'm thinking I'm knowing everything.
Yeah. Totally.
Totally just yeah, assumption, 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 assumption.
Yeah. And then of course you even hear, the interview with Mark, and you say, oh, see, it's if you think of it, it will occur. Like, just everything that you can do to prevent this terrible thing. So this is strange with the work because it's not ever condoning suffering.
Right.
It still asks this question, who would I be without the thought? It is absolute that this is terrible. Like there's, that you notice too that it'll be like terrible, end of story.
Mhm.
Mind us like the end. It doesn't go to what happens next. Just who would you be without that thought? For sure, absolutely, the most horrible thing that could ever happen.
Well, But in that moment that I was listening to your talk with her, when she was talking, I'm just standing in the bathroom hearing it. That's all. I mean, that's the reality, is I'm just sitting there,
Mhm.
standing there actually.
Yeah.
And yet if I go to that moment, if it happened, without that thought, I notice there's still sensation in my chest and gut, but it's not as intense. Um, I, I think I would be moved to action, whatever that would be. I'd be open to the right action, I think.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it wouldn't be, I'd be free of any, it's my fault wouldn't be coming in.
Yeah.
That was not that point. That wouldn't be.
Right. Yeah.
And I wouldn't be in the future. I'd be in the moment. Um, yeah.
It's great to notice. I'd be in the moment, aware of the peace, even of the moment, of the present moment, even though there's thoughts flashing like a slideshow, in the mind. I'm thinking about this condition. And I love sitting with, who would I be without the thought? And that would be the most horrible thing that could ever happen. It doesn't mean it's not incredibly heartbreaking or whatever, but it's just, what if I didn't know?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I do like noticing death seems to happen. You know, it's like we all love we love living so much. We're kind of hooked up to love living so much. But if I wasn't just absolute, like that absoluteness of being death, there's a just that, just a little bit, even a little drop of that unknown, I don't know coming in.
Mhm.
So let's turn that around. This would be, my thinking about this is terrible.
Yeah. I mean, that's so true. It's all it is this image in my head that's creating it. It's just a thought. It's there's no reality to it. It's just all based on associations and
Yeah.
pictures of how things should be, that children should never be hurt, and
Yeah.
that and this over, that I'm so responsible, I'm so all powerful for her well-being, and in charge of her life at this moment, and that I think that I can control it all. I
Yeah.
think that that's underneath it is, I think I can control it,
Yeah.
um, and keep her safe. That's up to me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. On my watch, and the weight of it
yeah,
doesn't mean I'm not the adult in the moment, but it's like it just becomes so heavy. I'm in charge of anything that happens.
right, right. And I know I feel that when I do believe it, it's like this heaviness. I could become hyper vigilant. So um, yeah, uh,
And that's a good one for noticing, like, so my thoughts are terrible about this, and it even affects how I am in the present with this person, with this child.
yeah,
So
yes,
I'm so hyper alert. Yeah.
Yes, hyper alert, which then makes it all about me. It's really not about her. And probably I lose connection and any presence I have with her.
Yeah.
And there's this internal war too, because there's a big part of me that believes children need to have their own experiences and learn, and sometimes learn the hard way.
Mhm.
Up to that point, there's that, and yet there's this fear that's right up against it, so it's like this
Yeah.
into,
Yeah.
and so it's all, then I'm not present to be there for her as in a calm way, and doing my job to watch her, which is, I believe, is my job, in that moment. That is my responsibility,
Yeah.
to do what I can, but not, coming from that place of don't do that. Oh, watch out, which I don't do, but I mean, internally it can be that way at times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, my thinking is terrible, and it creates this flood of unhealthy chemicals in my body.
Amazing. In the moment, even when something's not happening, the thought, your body is like a sensor for your thoughts. So
Yeah.
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 The thinking is terrible about this and my body feels it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and it is not terrible. Amazing. And, this is never, you just do this with the deepest open mind. I mean, could anything come of that? That just even one tiny example, how it's not as terrible as the mind says. If it did happen, that's what you're looking at, this thing happening.
Hmm. Hmm. And that's how I liked Martha, how she contextualized that kind of thing, that this happened.
Yes.
But I still can go towards it's not terrible, because if I drop all my labels and beliefs and all of that, it's just what is in the moment, that this is what happened.
Yes.
um yeah, a child underneath a large branch,
Yes. Yes.
um and it's not, I mean, it's hard to go there.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Because, um
And it's okay that it is. It's like just all that, the impact of it all, and the heart. I sometimes think of it as like your heart being just broken open.
mhm,
I
mhm.
mean, and the funniest, the strangest things, like I remember doing this work, imagining my children dying in a car crash. I just think that'd be the worst that could ever happen.
Mhm.
There was a movie, speaking of movies or stories that you hear, where that happened with a
Yeah.
mother. Um, and, just sitting and being able to think in this, without the flooding, even if the body's flooded with emotions, but just to find the, they've moved on to this mysterious wherever, whatever happens after life, like, I don't know, there's something, there on goes the adventure.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what my granddaughter's highest good is. And
Yeah.
it could be they completed their journey. I know Katie would say they've been here exactly the amount of time they need to be.
Yes.
And yes, I mean, I believe that for all of us. And it's easy to do it with it's not
Right. Yeah.
because, and it shows up, that thing that children should live to be a certain age. I mean, even the thought came in, well, if they were teenagers, it would be better. I mean, it was just little children. This
I know.
thing. Yeah.
It's like the mind's even negotiating your own image of the horrible image. If it goes like
Yeah.
this, well, I can make it, might be easier. And And just to see and just sit with even the tiniest examples, I think are amazing. Like they don't have to suffer old age. I don't know, or they won't ever, nothing will ever happen to them again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just interesting. It's whatever, just being able to sit with that and seeing that it's not this absolute horror that the mind says it will be. And also, I notice what's the reality on planet Earth? People die
Yes.
from all various things. They die unexpectedly. And I love that it's on, the universe delivers on a need to know basis. It's like, we do not know when we're dying. Nobody knows. Maybe that's for a good reason. And we don't know when someone else is.
Mhm.
And even just to have that little piece of like, maybe there's a good reason for that. Like it's just not necessary for you to know.
Right.
Instead of that's terrible, it's well, whenever it happens, it's going to be bad. um,
Yeah.
yeah. I just find in the moment, it's like watching those images come and how tight the body is in the moment and just loosening on it. Like it's okay. It's okay. Trusting what happens. There's a loose, the body isn't as braced for that terrible future.
Mhm. Mhm.
That terrible future.
Right.
And so more peaceful in this moment.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Sandy's sharing here in the chat. A nephew drowned in a bathtub, age 7.
Mm.
And such compassion for the mother and judgment about her. That's an awful feeling. And those when something appears to have actually happened, that amazing place for the work, both of them. You can get equal insight and freedom from if the things happened or not.
Mhm.
But just to look and see, is there anything interesting about that happening or anything that comes of it as life continues? I just noticed, had a thought like, I can't go on living if that happens.
Mhm.
And I noticed that if other people die, I go on living. There is no there's no threat to this life force carrying on whatsoever. There's grief and tragedy within, but there isn't, you don't drop dead, even though the mind is saying, I can't go on. I won't make it.
Right. Or I don't deserve to go on.
I don't deserve to go on. Yeah. Yeah. Apparently you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently you do. So that's a powerful thing to hold. Why would I deserve to go on? And like having, letting your mind find out. Like, see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really beautiful work, Bev.
Thank you, Grace.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's some of those strange, really difficult things, and it's never saying to be light or dismissive, or that it wouldn't be just something that you're working with and working with and working with, but very broken open, as they say, by these things. But
Yep.
just noticing it's not everything the mind says it is.
Right.
It just isn't. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments, sharing, following as you listened, or did you follow along with your own piece of work? Anyone want to share anything or ask anything? This is a good one. Linda commenting, if our country as we know it dies. Yeah. See, even it's always dying. Every day there's something that dies and something new that comes constantly. The previous moment is gone and now there's a new moment. There's constant renewal, and that the death is okay. There's this one Katie quote that I think is just made me chuckle the first time I saw it, but she said, we don't grieve if when the lawnmower cuts the lawn. You know, that's just, it's like nothing. I mean, you know, we go out on purpose and cut it all down, you know, cut it all. And it's just life growing, and then up and up, here it goes, here it goes. And just to notice that, the difference, the leaves falling off the trees where I live right now. We say it's beautiful. Yeah, beautiful work. Anyone else want to share? There's still a few more minutes. It can be a short.
Grace,
Yeah.
I guess I would like to know your thoughts about this. I also listened to that interview. And at some point, I can't remember the context of it, there was this mentioning of the concept both and.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what brings that, what comes up for me is that through doing the work and my other spiritual practices, I've come to a place where I feel so much happiness and contentment most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have these strong emotions and strong, stressful thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like I must not be doing enough. I must not be doing it right. Because I've achieved so much peace, and yet I still get like the mind just takes over.
Yes.
And steals my peace away, which is of course just another thought. But
yeah.
So just finding contentment with not always being happy and content.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's like, I love it. It's like the mind will say, it took my peace away. Can I absolutely know it's true? Because what I notice is, here comes, now I'm aware of peace again. I got caught up in something. My emotions just felt, which is actually in part of the human experience. There's something sort of beautiful about that, you know, like, you know, just, I don't know, wailing for joy or sorrow. And then it passes. It's like the weather, you know, it's the weather. And then, it's very calm, very quiet, like the silence behind everything that's always there, that peace available. And it is funny when the mind comes in and says, oh, but you weren't peaceful. You know, when you started watching the election results, what's wrong with you? It has like starts to have an expectation about what peace looks like, and what we're supposed to be doing. Like we almost expect ourselves to be beyond human, you know.
Yeah, I look at, you know, of course, I'm just seeing my spiritual teachers like Katie or other teachers that I follow. I'm only seeing them a snapshot. And of course, my mind says they're never stressed. They're never, you know, they're always in this permanent state of enlightenment.
Yeah.
And I must not be there yet, because clearly I've got all this stuff that I'm working on.
And I love it. That's a great one for both and, you know, there's sort of in the trajectory of some lives, maybe there's so much with whatever this is we're doing here, you know, looking at thought, questioning thought, relaxing with the mind, seeing what else is here besides thought. And yeah, it does seem like there's some sort of unfolding. You have Eckhart Tolle, and you have Katie, and sharing their experience, but we don't know, like, then we'll think what we think it's like to be inside of them, you know, or what enlightenment is or whatever. And you just get to follow your your own path and then a collective sharing of being human. So, yeah, like being really, really upset or sharp with your words or angry or means you're not enlightened. Is it true? So yeah, I love that. That's a great, this is a really one of my favorite exercises, is just writing down why you think you are not enlightened or somebody else is. Just writing down, this is why I'm not. Because then you see your concepts about it. So Diane.
Great. I will try that exercise. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a fun exercise. It's fun. It's great. Very revealing. So Diana, thank you for sharing that. My husband died in March. Yeah. And you've had the thought, I can't go on. And guess what? The thought is not true. And here you are. Wow. And of course, Diana sharing, sometimes it's very hard, but there are many peaceful moments, and this work has helped with that. Yeah. Yeah. Some things just work themselves for however long. We don't know how long we will be working with them, the experience. But that is quite profound. Here you are. Something's here. So very sweet. And Marie Francois, good to see your little note. Intense feelings about son leaving for Australia. Yeah. Wow. Wow, everybody. My thought is to read this passage again from Katie's book, A Mind at Home with Itself. It's page 98. She said, the only place we can be happy is right here, right now, not tomorrow, not in 10 minutes. Happiness can't be achieved. We can't get it from, you fill in the blank. Such and such needs to happen, then I'll be happy. Such and such needs to unhappen, then I'll be happy. We can only find happiness within us, unchanging, immovable, ever present, ever waiting. If we pursue it, it runs away. If we stop pursuing it and question our minds instead, the source of all stress disappears. Happiness is who we already are once our minds are clear. When the mind is perfectly clear, what is what we want. We're happy with whatever life brings us. That's enough. Here's the bottom line. Suffering is optional. I like sometimes to say unnecessary suffering. Sometimes there's these subtle, like, what is happiness? What is peace? Heartbreak, being brought to your knees, like some of you are sharing and you've experienced. Unnecessary suffering is optional. If you prefer to suffer, go on believing your stressful thoughts. But if you'd rather be happy, question them. Amazing. All right, everyone. So just watching those thoughts, I don't deserve, I'm being abandoned, I can't make it, I can't go on. Who would I be without that story? Amazing. Thank you all for your profound work.
Thank you, Grace. Can't we meet every week?
I know, right? Maybe I'll have to add so every month feels like I just love it so much too. So I will consider that.
Maybe we could have a mid-month check-in or something.
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Grace.
Lots of love.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.